Hey everyone, I'm Anya, and of course, this is Zorp, our resident anthropologist from way out of town. Zorp, you've brought us something today that seems to be, well, frying your circuits a little bit.
Greetings, Anya. Frying my circuits is an accurate, if primitive, description. My analysis systems have encountered a human data fragment filed under law, but it presents as a complete logical paradox. It seems to violate the very concept of causality.
A paradox that breaks the laws of physics? Okay, now you've got my attention. Let's take a look. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I can see why you're puzzled. It's a real mind bender, isn't it? And all run together like that, with that old-fashioned spelling, it's not exactly easy to read.
It is more than just puzzling. This is a recursive contradiction. It asserts that a construct, the law of man, creates the foundational system it is supposed to be part of. My processors are flagging this as a critical logic failure.
Nope, your translator is working just fine, Zorp. What you're looking at isn't really about creating reality. It's a very old, very clever proverb about how we humans understand reality. It's not about what's physically out there, it's about how we process it in here.
A distinction that I am finding difficult to process. I am noting this apparent circular reasoning from my official report on human thought.
Whoa there, hold off on filing that report. This is one of those things that makes absolutely no sense until you pull it apart. So let's do that. Let's just focus on that first chunk. Law of man is the creator of law of nature.
Okay, first up, law of man. Now, when you hear that, Zorp, I bet your mind immediately goes to things like speed limits and tax documents, right?
Correct. I categorize these as arbitrary protocols designed by humans to bring a semblance of order to their fundamentally chaotic social structures. Simple enough.
And you're not wrong. But for this proverb, you have to think much bigger. Law of man here means every system we've created to make sense of the world. So yeah, legal codes, but also scientific theories, our moral and ethical rules, even our models for how economies work. It's basically the entire intellectual scaffolding we've built around ourselves.
I see. So the term encompasses not just societal regulations, but the conceptual operating systems humans use to interpret reality itself. Interesting.
But Anya, this is precisely where the logic collapses. The proverb claims this human scaffolding creates the law of nature. How can a model for capitalism create a fundamental force like gravity? Did your scientist Isaac Newton invent gravity, or did he just notice it? That is the perfect question, and it gets right to the absolute heart of this whole thing. Look, it's not saying that we humans created the force that makes an apple fall to the ground. That would happen whether we were here to see it or not. What we did create was Newton's law of universal gravitation. We made up the name, the formula, the whole framework that lets us describe and predict it. We didn't write the universe, Zorp. We just wrote the user's manual for it. But hang on, because there's a really critical part of that first phrase that we've kind of glossed over. The next two little words are actually the key to unlocking this whole puzzle. See? For man. The law of man is the creator of the law of nature for man. That little phrase changes everything. It's a huge qualifier. The text isn't making some grand claim about the objective, capital T, truth of the universe. It's talking specifically about the version of reality that humans can access and understand. Our science, our physics, that's the law of nature as it exists for us. Oh, the data is reconfiguring. So your term natural law does not denote a universal constant. It is merely the label your species affixes to the conceptual box you have constructed to contain the universe. A human-centric schematic, not reality itself. Exactly. You nailed it. It's our best map of the territory, but it is not the territory. Okay, so we've cracked the first half. You ready to tackle part two? Here we go. And life is all but apprehend.
My translation matrix contains no valid entry for apprehend. Is this another linguistic anomaly unique to your species?
It is, sort of. It's a really old way of spelling apprehension. And in this context, it doesn't mean being worried or anxious. The old meaning is simply the act of perceiving something, of grasping it, either with your senses or with your mind. Think of it as the raw data feed from the universe. So now let's put the whole thing together. This old proverb is basically laying out a three-step process for how we operate. Step one is apprehension, that raw perception of the universe, which the proverb argues is the very essence of life. Step two, we take that raw data and we start building mental models and theories to explain it. And step three is comprehension, We formalize those models and codify them into our law of man. So, in a nutshell, life is perceiving, and our laws are the result of us trying to understand what we perceive. Understood. So, for my report, human reality operates as a closed loop. The biological state you call life provides the raw sensory input, apprehension. The human intellect then processes this input into structured frameworks, comprehension. These frameworks, your laws of man, then define the very boundaries of what you consider to be natural law. The conclusion is, humans do not discover an external reality. You construct it from your own perceptions. You know, Zorp, that's a pretty fantastic summary, and it leads to a really, really big question, doesn't it?
It does. Which brings me to my final query for this report. If your laws are what define your reality, what happens to your reality when you discover your laws are wrong? What happens when you realize the box you've built is far too small to actually contain the universe?
And that, Zorp, is the question that keeps scientists and philosophers up at night. A perfect place to end. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.